It's Kelsey with Shipwreck Beads. How are you all doing today? So today is Wednesday. We made it to the halfway mark of the week. It's been a week so far, right? I, for one, am looking forward to the weekend. I'm going camping with my family this weekend, so that's something that I've got to look forward to. Yeah, so we made it to Wednesday. I've got my coffee in hand, my same autumn velvet coffee that I drink pretty much every day. I love the girls in our galley. They do they make such yummy coffee. It's great for all of us employees who are here. And of course the customers too. When you're here shopping, it's nice to have a place to stop and get coffee and snacks, and they do soups and sandwiches. It's really great. So I spent the earlier part of this week getting caught up on some paperwork, got some new Beading 101 classes up on the calendar, including some fan jewelry ones. So if you're a Seahawks fan, look for those on our calendar. Our Beading 101 class is a great way to get started if you haven't done some beading before or just don't really know where to start. That's a great place to do it. Also was working on some artisan market stuff. So if you are interested, if you're local and want to be a vendor at our artisan market, we do still have spots available. So email market@shipwreckbeads if you're interested in being a vendor to our artisan market. So I don't know, recently I have not personally been feeling very creative. I've been kind of stuck on this one design that I did actually on the blog last week. So that was the gilded halo necklace, I think is what I ended up calling it, and I really love it. I've been wearing it like every day. My daughter made fun of me because she's like, "Mom, why are you wearing the same jewelry 2 days in a row? You never do that." Well, I really like this jewelry. But before that, I made this piece, which is using our vintage seed beads in these little swirly tab deals. So I've been kind of stuck on this design with the beading and the leather, and I thought today maybe we'd switch it up a little bit. Here's another version of the same design that I did. Stuck on my earring. So we'll talk a little bit about the leather connection today. So it's a good way to just sort of have a focal beaded section, and then I love the way the extra texture that the leather adds to the finished piece. So what I've been doing is wearing these two necklaces together. I love the way they look together, but personally, am I sideways? I don't know how to fix that. Carrie Lynn says that I'm sideways. Okay, let's try. Is that better? Am I fixed? Are we good now? All right, yay. Thank you for that. Am I still sideways? No, okay, good. Sorry about that. I had no idea. Okay, we're upright. Looks like we're good. Good. Thank you, ladies, for letting me know. Okay, so I made these two necklaces, and I've been wearing them together, but I feel like they need a third piece to go with them. So that's what we're going to make today. We're going to do the leather, but I wanted to add some like chunky chain to it. So I've got this giant Rolo chain, and then we're going to do the leather and wire wrapped connections also. So let's go ahead and get started with that. Angle you down here so you can see what I'm doing. All right, so I already pre-cut my leather, or pre-cut my chain. Actually, I didn't cut it. It was one long piece that I divided in half. So I've got one chunk that's just a little bit longer than the other. Unfortunately, because of the thickness of this chain, it's pretty much impossible to bend like a jump ring. So you're gonna lose a link, but that's all right. Sometimes that happens. So I'm not quite sure how long I'm gonna want this necklace. So I'm gonna cut way more leather than I need, because if you've been following the blog or watching Yeah, Caitlin, actually, there are tutorials on the blog for both of those necklaces. One was just posted on Friday. It's called the Gilded Halo necklace. And the other one is the wire wrapped arrowhead necklace. And so you can go to our blog, which is Loose Ends Craft Blog, to search for those. And you can also get find the link on our website. And I'll post the link to both of those necklaces in the comments when we're finished with the video. So yeah, there are tutorials for both of those necklaces, and so we'll go ahead and get started with this one. So I cut a length of leather. I'm going to fold it in half and cut it again because I need 2 equal pieces. Okay, and then I've got 18 gauge, ooh, sorry for that glare, it's artistic wire that's covered up, but it's 18 gauge, or sorry, 20 gauge raw brass wire, tarnish resistant. It's a pretty thick gauge. I use a lot of it, so I've got the big spool here. But the great thing is this spool is only $10, so even though it's a large spool, like, it's still really economical. I like that about the brass wire. Especially with that non-tarnished finish, it should hold up pretty well for you. So I just cut a section. Not sure exactly how much wire we need. Again, not a measurer. So you're going to start by stringing the 2 lengths of chain onto the leather and fold it in half. Then you're going to take your wire, and what I like to do to get it started is sort of fold it in half and make kind of a U shape. This camera, like that. Because sometimes that first wrap can be kind of tricky to keep it straight and not get it twisted. Then you just kind of want to wrap that tightly around 4 or 5 times. And if you start to get your wraps too far away from each other, you might want to take your chain nose pliers and flatten them out. So I always try and end my wire on the same side, and there's not really a back or front to this, so what you'll do is you take your flush cutters, put them up right sort of in the center there, can you see? And then you're going to trim your wire, and then sort of pinch the end down into the leather so it sort of crimps in place. Like that. Okay, so I will eventually trim that end, but I'm not quite ready to do that yet. I'm going to wait till I get my other wrap made and trim them at the same time. So let's see, just to be sure that I like sort of the drape of that. All right. That looks good. Can always shorten one of the shorter one to give it a different look too if you like, or if you wanted to hang some other pieces in there, some charms, or yeah, Beth says that she likes the way to do the leather connection, and I really like this way because I like the way it's more of a handmade look. Sometimes commercial findings can just look too commercial. And so it can be fun to play around with different types of connections, especially with the leather. Knotting is always a good connection too. On this necklace here, I used a knot and then the same wire wrap technique to attach the clasp on there. And this is just kind of a big something I had in my office. I end up collecting a lot of things. I get a lot of samples given to me to play with, so I end up with a lot of random stuff, and that's actually how this necklace right here came to be. I was on a roll making stuff and had some of these really great tiara cast charms and then these new baby tassels and kind of put them all together. I don't know. Sometimes it's easy to get on a roll when you're creating, and so it's been so frustrating to be kind of stuck on this design. Here's another one where I used knots as part of the design, and actually this one was sort of to cover up a mistake because the actual necklace ended up being longer than I wanted it to be, and I had already added the clasp and stuff like that. So rather than take it apart or cut into anything, I just tied an extra knot in there, and that shortened it up to the length that I wanted. Okay, so let's get this other side wrapped here. And you want to make sure that your loops on both sides of the leather are the same size. And also take into account the length of your wrapping, because that will change the size of your loop depending on how many wraps you do and which direction you go on the leather, whether you're wrapping down or wrapping up. It really doesn't make a difference either way, but just keep that in mind when you're measuring to see how long to make your loop. About even, right? Yes. And make sure we got the same amount of loops. Looks like squish it back together so there's no gaps in the wrap. So there is the necklace. Okay. So let's see, I'm going to tilt you back up so that I can see about how long. I sort of use you guys as my mirror here. Tilt you back up. All right. So we wanted about, what do you think about that length? Shorter? Let me take this one off. It's hard to see. Okay. So what do you think about that? About that length or a little bit longer? Like right there. Yeah. Okay, so what we'll do is that will become the center part of my loop. So actually we want to make it a little shorter because the clasp I'm using is a little bit on the large side. So this is the clasp I'm using. This is also by Tierra Cast. It's their, I don't know what it's called, but it's a hook clasp. And I'll put all the links to all of these products in the comments. And just to let you know, right now everything is 20% off for newsletter members. So if you are a newsletter member, then you can save 20% off on your order and get free domestic shipping. If you're not a newsletter member, you should become one, because we constantly do exclusive sales and things like that. So other projects, what other projects do you see, Caitlin? I always have I have this S-clasp. So yeah, you could definitely use an S-clasp Kitara. Here's one that you could use, and actually I was planning on doing a silver version of this necklace and just didn't get around to it, so I pulled an S-clasp to use for that. So in that case, you just make your loops in the leather and then you can use this to connect it. You really can add any type of clasp. What if you are a newsletter member? Sign up for the newsletter, and then when you place your order, Caitlin, just put a note on there that you're a newsletter member and you haven't gotten your newsletter number yet. We try and be really understanding about that, because it does take a while for that to show up. Sometimes after you've signed up, it usually takes a cycle. And we do newsletters usually every Friday and sometimes midweek, depending on what we've going on in the store and we want to share with you. So yeah, you can just do that on our website, and make sure that when you sign up for the newsletter that you actually go on and hit the confirm button, because if you don't hit the confirm button, then it won't sign you up. So make sure you do that. A lot of people forget to take that extra step and then wonder why they don't get their newsletters. So that will solve your problems. All right. I'm not going to do as many wraps on this end as I did on where I connected the chain, just because the chain is so chunky. I wanted a little bit bigger of a connection, whereas the back on the clasp, you don't need quite so much bulk with the wire. So I'm just going to do a much smaller loop and coils there. So is anybody or anyone's kids into this new Pokemon game? Has anybody played that at all? My daughter is really into it, and apparently Shipwreck Beads happens to be a Pokestop. So if you're into that thing and you're local and you want to do some bead shopping, then you can definitely stop in and get your Pokemon, whatever the stuff is. I don't know. I got the game for my daughter, and I think I've ended up playing it more than her. It's kind of sad. But it was really funny to watch her and my husband's friends traipsing through the woods the other day because all three of them were playing it. So there's the connection there. So as you can see, it's a lot smaller than the loop I made back here to connect the chain. And so it's really easy to customize and make it. Somebody found. All right, so now I've got a big jump ring that I'm going to use on the other side. Quite honestly, you don't need to have an extra component to connect. You can just make a loop and then connect your loop in the leather, but I want to add the ring just because I like the sort of finished look that the extra jump ring. The links in the chain look heavyish. You know, honestly, Becky, it's on there. It's not going to go anywhere, especially because what you're going to do is you're going to take that, the end of the wire and crimp it into the leather. So you're really sort of not cutting into the leather, but you're really pressing down. And so that clasp isn't going to go anywhere. It's pretty secure. It's definitely more secure than jump rings. Yeah, Qatar, that's why I signed up with my daughter, because I thought it'd be fun for us to be able to go on walks and do the things. And so it's been fun, even though the game's only been out for just a short while, but we've been able to go out and do some stuff together that, you know, maybe we wouldn't have done before. So she's at the age now where I'm not always the coolest person to hang out with. So if I could get her to hang out with me because of Pokemon, then I will take it. Ow. All right. Now we're going to finish up this other side. You want to make sure they're even, and this is like the hardest part for me. It's trying to make sure everything lines up. What kind of pliers are those? These are the gun handle grip pliers. I absolutely love these. They are so comfortable to use. When you're holding them, they don't dig into your hand. They just give you a really nice grip. Unlike a traditional plier where when you're using it, it kind of ends and digs into your hand. The gun handle grips don't do that. They're so comfortable to use. You can find them on our website. So I love these. These are the only pliers I use. And they've seen better days, but I love them. And I already had to replace the cutter. Actually, that's why I'm using this cutter, because the other one, I used it too much and it no longer wanted to cut for me. So. But yeah, the gun handle grip pliers, we sell those. They're on our website. I'll go ahead and put a link up when the video's finished for that. All right. Yeah, Beth, the gun, I really can't speak highly enough about these pliers. They are so comfortable to use. Um, and I've used a lot of different pliers with a lot of different types of handles, really thick, cushy, padded ones, you know, all the different types. But these ones I keep coming back to just because um, they're so comfortable to use. All right. So that line's up. So now I'm going to go ahead and cut my ends. I always cut at an angle instead of straight across, just because I like the way it looks. I think it gives it more of a finished, sort of professional look as opposed to just the, I'm using 18 gauge wire on this, Rebecca. You could probably get away with using a 20 gauge, but with this thick chain, you want to use something a little heavier, just because of the look of it. You don't want to use a really thin, lightweight wire with a really thick, heavy chain. Just sort of the proportions won't match. But the 20 gauge, did I say 18 gauge? This is a 20 gauge wire. I can't keep that track. I missed it up before too. Yeah, 20 gauge wire is what I'm using today. Again, the spool you can get for $10 or $9.99. It is a, how big of a spool is it? 78-foot spool. So that's a really great deal. And again, right now, if you're a newsletter member, you can save 20% off until tomorrow. So make sure and take advantage of that, because we don't do the 20% off sales very often. So. All right. So that is our finished necklace. And let's see, I was scrolling and who said, oh, it was Rebecca, said that she loves the leather and chain. She makes so many pendants that she needs something cute to put them on. This would be a really great way to showcase some pendants, because you can use a much smaller chain on this, and then sort of cut your costs, because the leather is going to be less expensive than the chain. So if you did a whole string of chain, obviously the cost is going to be a little bit more expensive than if you do it half and half. Not to mention it's just a cool design element, and just will give your finished piece a little extra interest. All right, so let's see how this looks on. Let's see, adjust the camera a little bit. Turn. All right. Let's see. All right, so there is the necklace stack that I've sort of had in my head. All three of these are really great layering pieces. This again is the wire wrapped arrowhead necklace from our blog. And then we've got the gilded halo necklace that was posted on Friday. And then this necklace here, which, what should we call it? I don't know, leather and chain necklace. Sometimes it can be so hard coming up for names for jewelry. I never really know what to call things. So sometimes they just end up being called what they are made out of. Sometimes I'll come up with a, gilded halo necklace name. So that's just one fun technique to play with. You can use this technique on earrings and bracelets too. It doesn't have to just be limited to necklaces. Just being able to mix your wire and leather together to come up with some really cool combinations. It's a great technique and starting point. So before we go, while we finish up, hold on, let me get a drink of coffee here. Before we finish up, I'd like to say thank you to all of you folks who have been on our Facebook page, liking and sharing for our picture contests that we've had the last couple weeks. Our buyers are cleaning out their offices and getting rid of a bunch of old samples, and you guys get to benefit from it. So this last week we had this little blown glass bead pack that was you to comment and like the post to win. And so the 5 winners, because we had 5 lucky people who won this week, and those winners are Cassandra, Tamara, Carrie, Erica, and Paulette. So congratulations to all of you. 4 of you already have your packages on the way, but we have not heard back from Paulette Lewis yet. So if you could get back with us, we can get your awesome little pack of beads in the mail to you. Yeah, so make sure, I mean, if you're watching this video, you're already a fan of us on Facebook, but so look out for more of these like and comment posts, and you might be able to win also. Oh, thanks, Danielle. Yeah, we've been having a lot of fun putting together some of the bead combinations. I know our buyers have been having a lot of fun with that, and we hope to bring you some more giveaways too. Katara says she thinks pendants would look good off the chain. I think so, yeah, especially if you were to add some, I mean, this chain is so chunky that it's kind of a focal in its own. You don't really need to add anything extra, but you could totally add, you know, use a thinner chain and add some pendants to it. Do something like this, except maybe hang your charms from chain instead of doing the beaded section. I love our vintage beads. I don't know if you've had a chance. I know I put tassels on everything, Beth. You know this about me. I love, though, I just want to say real quick, I love our vintage seed beads, especially these larger sizes. They're so funky and irregular, and just they just really add an earthy touch to anything that I add them with, and I absolutely love them. That's what I used on these, is our vintage seed beads. We've got some great mixes, so if you're in store and like to dig, we've got some great big bins full of the vintage seed beads that are so much, I love the vintage seed beads. I could go on and on. So yeah, one more quick thing before we go. We love doing these videos, but we want to make it easy for you to be able to catch us live and watch them. So if you would like to take a few moments to let us know in the comments when you'd like to, when is the best time for you to catch the videos. You know, we're here 9 to 5-ish, or I am, and that's Pacific time, so, you know, morning, lunchtime, afternoon. Let us know. Do you want to have a specific day to watch the videos? Yeah, we just want to hear your feedback, and so if you have any questions or want to give us some feedback on the videos, again, like when to have them, how long you want them to be, that sort of thing. We'd love to hear back from you. So have a nice day. Enjoy the rest of your week, and we will see you later. Bye-bye.